Hello everyone and welcome to a very special build of the month here using the Grid 3D modular terrain set from Raybox Games. Now they sent me the set here to try out and build something with. So given the futuristic modern style, this is going to be sort of a futuristic RPG, something maybe you could roll into something like Pathfinder, Starfinder even, and use it there. You can use this ideas and logics for your own games, but let's dive in. And this is going to be where the players enter the establishment. They are going to come in through the doorway. You know, you could use that to add it into any place or storyline that you want. And when they get through this doorway, they are going to notice that they are not necessarily alone. Looking down the corridor, you know, there's the iron, the rusting metals, and there's an attack dog of sorts, an alien attack dog ready to sprint down the corridor towards them. When they get there, just a quick little encounter. You know, they open the door, they see the sights, they see the interior of this room, and then they hear the of this attack dog coming their way. Now, annoyingly, when you have actually managed to defeat that sort of attack dog, well, if you look down the corridor, it's a bit of a dead end. It doesn't go anywhere. There's just sort of darkness and an empty wall. But if you turn around, there's one of the doors that's sort of stuck partially open. Now, if they squeeze underneath, they will find two things. They'll find a yellow pressure plate and they will find a computer. Now, this is where you can put a fun skills check in. Potentially, you can get your players to roll the dice and have to get so many successes as if they were coding really fast. Or potentially you could give them sort of a puzzle where they have to align the dice in a certain way. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will allow them to continue. You could make it so that the door properly opens, or maybe they just hear the crunch of steam and valves moving and this walkway twisting. This is going to basically allow you to advance into the rest of the dungeon. As you make your way through this newly twisted and opened area, you'll find, as you walk into the room, you'll see the purple pressure plate, and oh dear, there's a load of not so friendly looking aliens down the other end of the corridor. Now, some of these could advance, maybe they are protecting, or what they seem, you know, they seem to be around a green pressure plate. Maybe they're protecting that. Maybe some of them will charge you. You know, that is up to you as the DM. And then you can have that combat encounter. Unlike the attack dog, this is one that should maybe test them a little bit. Let them use a skill or two rather than just some basic attacks. You know, use their abilities. But still, these will fall. Moving up, this door here, it's completely locked. But again, we do have one that seems to be half open, allowing someone to crawl through to the other side. Now, when you're through, they'll find the blue pressure plate, and they're starting to realise when they stand on them, not much seems to happen necessarily. Making your way along the wiggling corridor, well, you get to this doorway. The doorway, it's not budging. You can try skills checks on it, and it's a fairly solid door. You're not going to be able to cut through it very quickly. And there's a button, but pressing it doesn't seem to do much. Well, if you're looking around, you do notice that there are 4 stripes of paint that just so happen to match the 4 pressure plates that you've already seen. Standing on them in order, purple, yellow, green, and then blue, you will be able to press the button and then the door will open. Now, when you go through the now open doorway, well, you see this sort of fridge with vials in it, and they look like they could sell for a bob or two. So, trying to salvage as much of them as you can, because you're not going to be able to lug the huge refrigerator, you turn back. But can you hear that? That doesn't sound good. As you make your way slowly back round, as you crawl back under this locked door, well, it seems you're not the only one in this large room. Now, the reason I've done this there's this long, large room is because of the way the set comes, allowing you to craft different sized rooms with the pieces. And I thought by having a long room, you could have that interesting area to have that battle. You know, that thing could charge you, you could get someone up close, there could still be someone at range. And, you know, you could have an interesting sort of mini boss fight. This is certainly the most challenging aspect, and, you know, if you need to, throw in some ads just to make it a bit more fun. Of course, being the good guys, hopefully, you manage to defeat them, and that is when you can make your way back out of the dungeon to happiness. It's a fun little sort of encounter there, hopefully, sort of with locked doors, maybe a puzzle or two, a quick time dice event for your players to give a go, pressure plates that, you know, you could hide them rather than having them sort of flagged up. You could make, when people walk round, you could sort of almost play a sound on your laptop or your phone, like a shh, and then it's like as they work out where they are, they could almost find out that there's different pressure plates around, and then they could work out, depending on the party size, you could have someone stood at each and pressing them in different combinations, and eventually you can just sort of let them through. So a few different things there. Some of the sort of things I've tried to exploit with this build, well, the way that some of the doors from this the Grid 3D modular terrain set, the way that the doors sort of can be left sort of half open or, you know, open, closed. I really like that. I think the fact that you can have them partially open and say they won't move, so someone has to crawl under, not necessarily seeing what's on the other side. The fact that, you know, some of these walkways, I really like the fact that you can just say, look, this is a walkway that you can't get to, and then it rotates. I think that's quite a nice little touch. And then the way that sort of they add together. Now, I do think the way it works with sort of the pieces, you can add different sized rooms together. For instance, this is 3 sort of long square pieces, but you could take the middle part out and you could have had a shorter room there. So that's an interesting one, and I like sort of the very obvious grid on all the pieces. And in fact, when you have 2 of these rooms next to each other, like the interlocked area actually is still technically about a grid space as well. So yeah, it all works quite nicely. I haven't glued this all together, so you could very easily build it, wood glue all of this together, and then it's a really solid piece, but it's actually very solid. Some of these would fall apart because I've not glued them, and other pieces really do solidly clip together and make a very nice piece. Why I have chosen not to glue them together is twofold. Personally, I'm quite bad at that sort of stuff, and by just sort of pushing them together with your fingers, it all works and looks epic like this. And then the other aspect is that it will completely flat pack again. You know, I don't have to store it in any particular way. Whereas if I've glued it, I mean, they're not that hard to store. You know, some of these pieces will fit inside other pieces and stuff. So it's not a huge issue. But, you know, by not gluing them, I think they look great still, and they can pack away nice and flat. Anyway, this has been a look at the Grid 3D modular terrain set, the modern and future set from Raybox Games. And it's coming to Kickstarter soon. I will be putting the link in the description box below, so you can go and check out the product page on the Kickstarter page, the crowdfunding website, so you can take a look. If it's not already live, you can sign up to be notified. If it's live, you can back it there, and potentially there'll be ways sort of to get involved if this is far in the future. As far in the future as the storyline of this build. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.